Evel Knievel touted that he was going to jump over the Grand Canyon for years. By 1974, it was time to put his money where his mouth was. Problem was, although he had the testicular fortitude to do just that, he didn't have the money. At least not enough for the kind of extravaganza that he had anticipated. He wanted beer, he wanted bands, he wanted fireworks, he wanted a rocket, and all the money that it took to put on such a spectacular event. So where was he going to find a mark? Somebody naive enough, young enough, with enough financial wherewithal to come up with millions of dollars to help him along the way. Enter Vince McMahon Jr. Vince McMahon Sr. had already established himself as the king of wrestling and promotion. He had a huge enterprise and had his son working for him in an outpost in Connecticut, a small-time wrestling outfit. McMahon had much bigger dreams for himself. So McMahon flew out to Montana and met with Evel Knievel. Evel wined him and dined him and filled his head with dreams. Together they estimated that 50,000 people would attend the event. They estimated that 2 million people would pay a day's wage to go to their local movie theater and watch it live on what McMahon had envisioned as a closed circuit broadcast. As Evel had hoped, McMahon went straight to his dad's office, pitched the deal, and surprisingly, his dad agreed to the deal on one condition, that they hire Bob Arum, a boxing promoter. Arum went about the business of establishing connections, striking deals, preparing contracts. Evel established the venue. He hired an ex-NASA engineer to build him a rocket. Meanwhile, Junior went about the business of securing event locations around the country, which ended up being movie theaters nationwide, buying landline rights to miles and miles of cable so that they could broadcast such an event, renting cameras, projectors, redundant projectors because you don't want anything to go wrong and it's a brand new technology. By all accounts, the event was an unmitigated disaster. First of all, the timing of the event changed from a family-friendly Labor Day weekend to being attended by 10,000 people who were unemployed or had nothing better to do the following week. When it came time for the jump, the parachute malfunctioned and came out before the rocket even left the ramp, dragging Evel Knievel down to the bottom of the canyon. So what was supposed to be either a fantastic death or a glorious success turned into a 3.1 second event that everybody had paid too much money to go see. Evel Knievel was taken to the hospital, leaving the drunken revelers behind to do whatever their will was with the event venue. Apparently their will was to tip over the porta potties, to rip out the water fountains, to loot all the beer stations, ripped off the top of the trailers where they sold peanuts or popcorn, just vandalized everything there, and eventually ran out of stuff to burn, so they left. McMahon Jr. was left holding the bag. He and his family were $250,000 in debt. Weeks later, they filed for bankruptcy. But before you feel too sorry for Jr., consider the silver lining. McMahon gathered all he learned and leaned in undeterred into the new closed-circuit technology. 10 years later, he had pioneered the technique and honed his promotion efforts enough to draw 1 million viewers to WrestleMania and a $4 million payday for his World Wrestling Federation. Today he's a billionaire.
It was me all along!
WrestleMania 35, the most recent live event, grossed $16.9 million. They say that time heals all wounds. Or maybe it's money. But either way, if McMahon ever harbored ill will towards Evel Knievel for the deal gone sour, his animosity seems to have dissipated. Last month, an upstart wrestler entered McMahon's showcase, donned in a throwback tribute to Evel Knievel, and left the ring a champion. We'll see if the courageous champ can hold on to his belt at WrestleMania this weekend. Until then, happy landings.